welcome to another Fight of the Night review. This is for the Fight of the Night that took place last night, obviously at the UFC Epicenter and Enterprise Nevada, United States. It was the main event of the fight, of the card as well, between Rob Font and Marlon Vera. So, you know, that's a rarity. You got 5 rounds to go through, and I'm going to try and go through them as quickly, well, as good as I can. Let's go with that. One starts, and without really wasting much time, Rob Font does start going for Marlon. He starts firing off some of his incredible boxing. He's probably the best boxer, or one of the best boxers in the bantamweight division, and he's letting some really good 1-2s on Marlon. However, this is going to be a common thread throughout the entire fight, and probably this entire video as well. Marlon's defense is really good. He's utilizing good head movement. He's blocking a lot of Rob Font's strikes. However, a lot of Font's combos are getting through. And while Marlon's laying some really good combos, he even lands a hell of a body kick at some point. He's mostly backing off and trying to find his pacing, because Marlon is someone who gets better as the fight goes along. And he is mostly eating the shots, but he's blocking them really well. You know, he's using his elbows quite well, keeping himself tight in. And honestly, not really much else to say about round 1. Rob Font is hunting a lot. He's switching to the body a lot as well with some really good combos. And it's mostly just a stand-up clinic from Rob, with Marlon countering really well when he can. He does land a good left at some point, but yeah, round 1 probably goes to Rob. I definitely think he was outlanding Marlon Vera in round 1. His boxing was a lot better, and while Vera's blocking, was pretty on point, he was still letting some shots clip him. Next we'll move on to round 2, and at first it appears more of the same, and I don't remember which round it is, but it's either 2, 3 or 4, where Vera lands a hell of a knee on Rob. I don't remember the name of the round or exactly which one it is, but for the most part, round 2 seems to follow the same structuring as round 1. Rob Font is switching to the body a lot, going for, you know, good body lefts, body hooks, then head hooks as well, and landing really good combos, following up with the 1-2, not landing it as much, and Vera is a bit more ready with the jab this time around. He's throwing, he's threatening with the knee quite a bit, he's threatening with some really good kicks. He's landing some really good calf kicks as well, much like Rob was in round 1, but Vera was landing some good ones in round 1 as well, and he's landing them in round 2. And for the most part, it is sort of the same as round 1. Besides that, you know, Rob Font is landing good combos. Well, when he can, Vera is utilizing his head movement, he's blocking really well, for the most part getting out of the way. And then he gets to the end of round 2, and he is sort of in control for a bit. He does land a good jab, I think, that does catch Rob off guard, but then a bit later on, he landed the jab more in the middle of round 2, but near the end of round 2, he lands a hell of a left hook, and Rob Font immediately goes down. He starts trying to get a leg for a takedown, but Marlon Vera is too aware for it, stays on top of him, manages to get his legs away from Font's grip, and lands some really good ground pound to end out round 2. But having said that, I think round 2 still goes to Rob. I might be misremembering if this was at the end of round 2 or 3, but the point is, yeah, Rob was just pouring in more output, and Marlon was just using better defense and landing the more damaging shots, but Rob was actually landing more shots. So, yeah, do with that what you will. In round 3, at first, it much appears to be the same as the first 2 rounds. Rob Font is going a bit more for strikes, however, he is starting to be busted up a bit more. I think he ate the knee in round 2, and his left eye is a bit blacked out and a bit moused over, so it is starting to cause some swelling. Probably making it difficult to see, but not that difficult because you can still see his eye, so that's good. However, yeah, he does start utilizing the same game plan, trying to chase Marlon down. However, a big difference is the fact of how they look in round 3. Marlon Vera still looks very calm, very composed, still bouncing around a bit more. His cardio is absolutely mental, and he's one of the toughest guys in the bantamweight division, obviously. Rob a bit more flat-footed, and in round 3, definitely a massive contrast to the first 2 rounds, because he's going specifically for headhunting. He's not going for the body as much. He's eating more calf kicks. He eats a nasty body kick at some point, and Vera even lands a spinning back kick to the body in round 2, I think. I think it's round 2. I might be wrong. But yeah, Rob Font sort of hunting the head specifically. Again, landing really good combos, starting to put stuff together. However, Marlon's countering is a bit more on point. He lands a good left that backs Rob up a bit. I think he does land... Actually, no, I think that's round 4 that I'm thinking of. But the point is, he's landing some really good shots. He does land a good elbow at some point. He does start the round as Marlon with some clinch work to try and get back into the fight a little bit, because I think he knows he lost the first 2 rounds. Yeah, besides that, it's mostly just sort of the same as the first 2. until, again, the end of the round. It's a bit more closer in terms of striking, so it's probably the most stalemate round of the two, but without being stale, it's actually very high-paced, as is the rest of the fight. And it is mostly the same up until the end of the round, much like at the end of round 2, when Marlon landed a big shot on Rob and knocked him down. Same thing happened at the end of round 3, knocked him down with a big shot, threw some really good strokes, landed some really good elbows, even landed an elbow as the bell sounded, that I think started to cause some swelling or a cut on Rob's face. And yeah, round 3, difficult. It does sound the significant strokes that Rob won in terms of that, and I definitely think Rob snatches the round narrowly. But yeah, round 3, probably the most even of the entire fight, but I am narrowly giving it to Rob. It is close though. Next is round 4, and again, not really a lot I can say about this round that I haven't said about the first 3. Rob is still going for a lot of strikes. He's a bit more flat-footed, and obviously the damage is starting to show on his face a little bit. Like, Marlon is countering really well, but for the most part, Rob's pressing forward, landing really good combos. He lands a really good combo near the start of the round. But yeah, for the most part, really is the same as the first, at least the same as rounds 1 and 2. He's following up with really good combos. Marlon is, again, utilising really good defense and head movement to try and stay out of the way. The blocking is, again, on point. He's landing more hard kicks, though, and there's a moment where he lands, like, what I can only describe as a super kick, but he doesn't have to slap his thigh to get the really high impact sound, because he landed it clean on Rob and knocked him down, sort of near the end of the round. Again, I know I'm skimming over a lot, but there really wasn't much else to talk about up until this point. But yeah, he lands basically a super kick on Rob. Something I'd never seen before. Oh, something I just remembered about round 2 as well. Marlon went for a front kick and Rob caught it, and then as he was backing him up against the cage, Marlon kept like kicking his foot out right into Rob's face, which I felt was a bit weird. It's something you don't really see often, but back to round 4. So I will admit, unlike the first couple of times when Marlon had Rob knocked down, he didn't really do a lot with it this time. He didn't jump on him to try and finish the fight. He landed some kicks to the legs and kicks to the thigh and stuff like that, but didn't really pounce on him. And I will admit, well, it was a hell of a visual to see Rob's face like bloodied up, swelling on the head, his black eye getting a bit worse. I don't know, it's really good that Jason Herzog eventually stood them up, and again, I give round 4, even though Rob ate the bigger shots, he landed more, I'm giving it to him. And I will explain why I sound so hesitant when I conclude my review of the fight, because, And finally, round 5, more of the same. Rob still headhunting, still getting caught with some nasty shots. I don't even think he gets knocked down in this one. I think there's a bit of clinch work at some point, but for the most part, in round 5, Marlon Vera is just taking the piss. He's basically just dancing around Rob, and he's still eating nasty shots, and he feels like he's won the fight. I mean, Marlon has landed the bigger damage, obviously, and between the two, he's got at worst, like, a red mark under his left eye, and maybe some on his nose too, but he's completely fine besides that, and Rob Font definitely a lot worse for wear if you look at the two. The same story as the first 4 rounds, or maybe just rounds 1, 2, and 4, like Rob Font landing really good shots, still staying on Marlon despite being hurt, Marlon dancing around him, not doing a lot to counter it. And round 5, I am giving again to Rob. So Marlon would win by unanimous decision, and I don't think I fully agree with that call. While his defense was good and he was landing the bigger impact shots, he wasn't landing nearly as enough as Rob was. Then again, Rob was throwing more, so obviously he's going to land more, but he was definitely the aggressor, you know? Marlon was on the back foot for a lot of the fight, and while he was doing some, really fancy dancing around, landed some really big shots and got the knockdowns, he didn't do much else besides that, and like in 2 of the knockdowns he did follow up well, in the 3rd one he didn't. There wasn't really a lot of clinch or groundwork from either man, except for round 3 and a bit in round 5. But I don't know, I think Rob got kind of robbed in a way, and double robbed as well, because he came in overweight, so he doesn't even get a share of the Fight of the Night bonus. However, having said that, it is still a pretty entertaining fight. I am on the fence of whether or not I'll include it in my top 10 of the year, simply because I don't agree with the win. I think Rob won. I've got nothing against Marlon Vera, and he is definitely an entertaining fighter, and again, one of the toughest bastards in the bantamweight division. I just think Rob did more. He looked more active, and while he was obviously tired towards the end of it and he was busted up badly, it's not like he didn't land shit on Marlon. He landed a lot of stuff on him. He just didn't really rock him very well, and it didn't really show the damage. Whereas it showed the damage more on Rob, because Marlon was landing smarter counters. Having said that though, that'll about do it for this review. I will see you all on Tuesday night for the return of PBW vs ABW. Hopefully you all saw the draft last night, that was a lot of fun. And next thing I can promise after that is maybe a Music of the Week episode, and then possibly finishing Day of the Tentacle next Friday. But that's it for then. As for now, thank you for watching, you're awesome. Bye bye.